And good morning, good morning, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, across the world, wherever you are. This is Rotimi Eitayo saying good morning to you on the Good Morning Education Show. We're excited to be alive. We're excited to be here and to have conversations with you once again. And if you're connecting with us, please do let us know where you're connecting with us from. And then let us know your location as well. Don't just say your name, tell us your location. And we encourage you to have a conversation with us on the show. Send in your comments. And after the comments, if you have questions, please do not hesitate to ask your questions. We are live today, streaming from Lagos, Nigeria, West Africa, to the entire world. And it's always a great morning on the Good Morning Education Show. Without wasting much time, I would like to bring on one of my colleagues, our analyst on the show, Jude, to just say hello to us, and then we'll start off the show. Good morning, Jude.
Good morning, Mr. Rotimin.
Good morning. Good morning. Let us hear your good morning today.
Good morning, Mr. Rotimi. Good morning, Internet. And good morning, colleagues.
Fantastic. I always love the fact that you recognize that the internet is also not just a guest, but a stakeholder.
Yes. We are using the platform, right?
Yes, it's a stakeholder. He can decide to have his own show and prove himself or herself. The internet doesn't have a gender, does it?
At all. It's neutral.
It's neutral. So at least that one, we know that one is not going to need us to fight and run for another day to win.
At all.
So let's enjoy the show before the others come in to say good morning. Let's just welcome those who are joining us. Rita Ovodo, thank you for joining. And Tino Adeumi Felix, thank you. Felix, sorry, thank you for joining. She's streaming from Lagos. And of course, Favor, thank you for joining. Favor Eli Dogu, thank you for joining our show. Favor, I hope you heard about your gift. If Favor is listening right now, Favor, you have a gift from KK. She's gifting you a copy of her book. I think Classroom Connect is the title. For your consistency and always coming to the show. You're almost most times in recent times the first person to join the show, and it's been a great time having you on the show and also having conversations with you on the show. Although today Rita actually won or beat you to it, and I have a very lovely friend joining us this morning. I know she's joined before, but I'll need to ring the bell of blessing for joining this early. That's Oluwakemi Adesanya. Kemi Adesanya, good morning. Thank you for joining the show. And we believe it's going to be a fantastic time. Today, we're going to be talking about something a little bit more relaxing, something that probably will touch across the dimensions, at least 7 dimensions of our lives. And our topic today on the Good Morning Education Show is quality of life. Quality of life. Dude, tell me. I know you like to enjoy. It's just that you couldn't. You're not too geeky or techy
To enjoy life.
you know.
I'm trying to get a Rolls Royce, a Phantom.
I was even telling someone yesterday. I was driving through the Koi toll bridge, and she said that, oh, did I see her jogging? I said yes. I said that she wouldn't even know who I was, as in because she doesn't know my car. I said, oh, you'd have seen that black Bentley that drove past you. I said, if you drove a Bentley, I'm the one that walked towards you.
Yes.
So, we're just humble people. We don't flaunt our cars. We don't flaunt our jets. We just do what we need to do. Breathe in, breathe out. At least we just use the credit card in our imagination and we'll buy the cars we need to buy.
Yeah.
You don't go broke on your imaginations. You know that it's quite free.
No, you can't do that. That's the worst thing that can happen to you.
Yeah, if you check your account, you don't have money, man. Dream on. Ambassador Oladimeji, thank you for joining. Is it Ambassador or something as well? Ambassador Oladimeji, thank you for joining. And great stuff. Today is Friday. And as usual, we hear people say, thank God it's Friday. But the truth about it is, I want us to stay focused on the conversation for today. And pretty much, I'm sure that by the time we get our guests, but let's just get to the news. We'll come back from the headline news. We'll talk about the news, and then we'll hit the question of the day. And we might have a surprise guest on the show today, just to take a little bit of touch of excellence and also the conversation to another level. So let's have the news, and we will be right back. Don't go away. We will be right back. Thank you. Welcome back, and we have our powerful women in the building. Two cousins, one from a republic and one from a tech republic. And they came in the same time, they were late at the same time, and they will take a look at the same time, and they will get punished at the same time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the left. KK to the right. Kitty,
hello.
Put your hands together.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Thank God it's Friday and we can sleep in Saturday and Sunday and not have to.
Every day. Did you have to stress that part? Titi, why did you have to stress that part?
Rotimi.
She's just making an observation.
I'm telling you.
Is it an observation? That's not an observation.
Comment. Sorry, it's a comment. It's a comment.
Thank you. See.
So we're happy tomorrow. We'll have the extra snooze.
Yep.
We have been snoozing for 5 months now.
Rhoda is in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, Rhoda, this morning.
Good morning, KK. Good morning. Good morning. You're all looking so fly. Don't worry. Next week I'll come back with my real self.
Good to have you. Good to have you. So let's just have comments on the news. We had headlines just some few seconds ago. So let's take comments on the news.
Yeah, two things caught my eye, but I'll start with the first. World Bank, $75 million support to Edo State for its education reforms. Honestly, that just shows that, you know, when you take action even before the money comes, then the money will follow you. That's what I believe. I've heard so many wonderful things about the education reforms that is going out in those states. I think they've partnered with Bridge.
Yes,
in terms of,
and we have someone in the bridge, or someone from the bridge, someone on the bridge, someone for the bridge, someone to the bridge, someone bridge bridge.
I think honestly, because I was at a conference last year when, you know, they came and spoke extensively about what was happening in Edo State, and I was honestly over the moon. Which just shows that with the right leadership, and when you honestly want to do something about it, you don't have to have all the money. You don't have to have everything. You just have to take a step, you know, make a decision and take a step. And that's really beyond education. Anything you do in your life, once you say, you know what, I want to change, I'm going to take a step, I'm going to start. And then what happens is, as people genuinely see the change that is happening, you would genuinely get the support and the funding that you need. So I think this is an example to everyone out there across the state, across the country, wherever you are, that once you do something, don't worry about the money, just start. Eventually, the money will come. So awesome.
You say, awesome. Don't worry about the money. Titi, you want some people to fight you? They will say, after all your alert season, you say, don't worry about the money. Some people, it's all about the money. But you know what? I think it was also a saying.
It's all about the Benjamins. It's all about
I think there's a saying, I think it's Oprah Winfrey that said so. She says, do you understand? Don't chase success, chase impact, and success will come. And it's the same thing. So don't chase the money, chase value. You know, chase impact, and the money will come, and the success will come. Yeah.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, you've all heard Titi, you know, prescribing a success antidote or success pill.
Formula.
Formula. Please do apply with discretion, because Titi is an audacious person. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear from the bridge lady herself.
Yes.
We have Rhoda in the building.
That particular headline excites me in very special ways. And to be honest, to Titi's point, which is very clear and valid, is the power of leadership. Look, I've watched Governor Obaseki show commitment on levels I have never seen. I was privileged to attend one of the meetings where the conversation with the World Bank, one of the conversations with the World Bank was had. And he was, and I'll tell you, it's a personal story, but it's okay to share. A comment was left that day by the president of the World Bank, and the person representing the president of the World Bank. And he says, in all his years in working in Nigeria, and we're working with as many people, he's never seen a governor who's as committed as a Governor Obaseki to reforms in the state. And one of the examples that he shared, quick examples, and it's funny that he shared that example, is that this man arrives early every time. The first sitting governor he will see, who is present on time for any kind of meetings that we're going to have. That is a significant, that is something that, to my mind, is different. It's not something to celebrate, because that's what is expected, but that's what is different, you know, from him. And guess what? We're seeing the same thing with the present governor of Lagos State as well. It's that these people are committed to their task. So leadership comes with a lot of commitment, and with commitment, you can see how they're very technical about the way solutions are going to work. If you watch what Lagos State is doing now with the closing down of the Third Mainland Bridge, it's unprecedented. The entire state was mapped through, you know, and areas cornered off for people to have access to different parts. I'm digressing, but this is what leadership is. And I hope that the people of Edo State recognize this, know who really has their back.
We do. We are happy. The politics has come into
the we do. KK does not leave a particular radius of the state.
But I'm a little girl, through and through.
Exactly.
Really, Owedo.
That's right. I love it. Oh my God, this is good. I love it. Yeah, that's all. Commitment. And Edo, one thing, Ms. KK, one thing I've heard him say over and over again, this is Obaseki, I'm sorry I'm dragging this. One thing I heard him say is he chronicles the history of Edo State. And you guys, everybody knows this. When we were kids growing up, it was unbeatable that common entrance was for Bendel State. They had the highest cut-off marks. And that state was known in the country as the best performing state when it came to basic education or primary level. And he always goes back to that. What happened to my people? And he came in with that goal. I'm going to have to change this narrative, because when we then did the enumeration and the diagnosis and the levels were low, this man cries out, talking about the history of his people and how come they had come to where they were. And he was ready to make that change.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It wasn't too early. Good. So the one that caught my eye many caught my eye, but the rent issue.
The rent. Wow.
Yeah.
KK, the show is pinching. Tell us.
No, that's pinching, but I'm able to have conversations. So they're difficult for conversations, but they're conversations that need to be had. And that's the power of communication and the power of relationship. Some people don't have relationship with their landlords and landladies. So, times like this, it's like, pay me or go. But regardless, I think the landlords and landladies know what is going on. So they should temper justice with mercy, or, because it's tough. The reality is that it's tough. And it doesn't make sense to go and take a loan to pay rent that you don't even know when you can pay the loan. So it doesn't make good financial sense. So they should hold off. Yeah, Jude.
I have a question for
this
KK.
discussion as early as possible that schools will be maintaining facilities where there's no school fees coming in. There's no. They pay NEPA bill. They pay security and pay some staff, standby staff.
NEPA bill my lights. Ridiculous.
Imagine. So you can see that the bills will always be coming, even while you are not making money.
Yeah, that's the truth. Rhoda, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you. KK, I know that you're sitting on this table quite nicely. I don't know how comfortably, but quite nicely. I don't want to make assumptions. But KK, so now that we see this outcry, what would be like your advice to low-income school owners who, literally at this period couldn't implement online learning to even get a sense of, even if it was some kind of 1 naira or 50 naira, 1,000 from parents? What would you advise them in terms of trying to navigate this next academic year? This difficult, no income. What would be like? I don't know. I guess that's my question. What would be your advice to these people within this group?
The thing with low-income schools that I've noticed is that they're very much structured like community schools. So if it's a community school, then what I would, it's difficult because I'm not squarely in that space. But what I would advise is look into the community. What sort of community infrastructure is available, and can that be used from now? Because a lot of the children usually are around a particular community, because that's the model of low-income schools, so that they're not paying money on transportation. They're not, so I would say, can they look into the community and find if there's somewhere else? They might have to split up. So because usually one component of low-income schools is that they have very huge numbers. So if those numbers cannot fit into the infrastructure, can they then split up their numbers and maybe spread out across different spaces at a time like this, just so that they can keep teaching the children? Because we really cannot take them out. They're doing a lot of work in low-income schools. The amount of children in those schools is beyond, it boggles my mind when I think about it. So I would say don't close. find a community infrastructure that you can use at this time, and see if you can talk to the owners of this. A lot of them usually use their own buildings, to be honest, and just kind of creates a lot of caricature type structures to house the children. So they probably may not even have the kind of issues that we may be having. But if they're having those issues, I would say look into the community. Is there infrastructure that can be given, for example, maybe churches, because churches are not usually there during the week, and perhaps they can use those churches or mosques, right? So that's what I would suggest at a time like this.
That's insightful. Thank you.
Okay. Any other?
COVID-19, guys. The YS and COVID-19. Bielsa State. Yeah.
COVID-19 had 19 infected. 19 infected with COVID-19. Is that not an arithmetical reality?
Oh man, wait to me. I don't know.
Rosa, the way you just said, I thought you wanted to rap.
Yeah, but that's something to look at. So obviously, the safety structures that were meant to be in place are maybe not in place. I mean, my son is doing GSS 3 right now, but he's in a private school, right? So I can imagine, so there's a lot that they have put in place. There are only 10 in the class. They don't even allow a lot of social interaction within the children, between the children, I beg your pardon. But they're in school and they come in safe. They make sure that some certain things are, and they also have the staff, right? So we're talking about staffing shortages. So imagine in a public school with so many different children. So in my head, I'm wondering, how are they even, what are the checks, what are the supervision, what's supervision like in these centers? Do they really have, is there social distancing going on?
You know what
so
I'm doing?
That's all we can see.
What I'm going to say is that because these questions also our audience across the globe are actually sharing with our pain and concern. And so this is what we're going to do. Just like we always do on the Good Morning Education show, we make things great because it's always great. We have great people sharing great stuff. So we need to continue to share great stuff. So people like Rhoda, people like KK, people like TT, TT went ahead to do some courtesy visit without telling me. And TT went, and I saw TT all over the news. So by the power vested in me and by the confirmation of the elders and the support of the prophetic dude who is hiding his face for some months now, we are going to mandate TT and KK to bring us live reports on realities of social distancing in the schools that are writing the current exams. Is that fine? Ladies and gentlemen, I ring the bell of blessing to confirm that.
Yes, fine.
So we'll be seeing live feeds. All this iReporter, yes. So TT means business. That's the quest means business. No comment. I'm going to get you. Yes, we do have someone in the house. In fact, someone's first. Oh, okay. Do you want to finish clapping? Okay, yes. Okay. All right, so let's have someone in the building. I've known him for almost 20 years, and yes, he's a one-time best friend. He's no longer my best friend, right? Yeah, I've long sacked him from being a best friend, but now he's a sure friend. We move from best friend to sure friend to conk friend. And he's a fantastic guy doing fantastic things for fantastic people with fantastic results. He's someone who is passionate about what we all should be passionate about, and he's dwelling in a space that is least talked about, but is a magical space actually. And because of the conversation of today, we're speaking on quality of life, and we have Koye, we call him Koye Joe sometimes, but Koye Shofolue, the CEO of Kingfisher, is the one that is pioneering the beach hiking adventure. Yeah, he's a tourist, he's a tourism person, he's an education tourism person. He's done tourism for years. Is taking adults, children, schools, corporate organizations to Dubai, to different parts of the world, and especially local content. He's designing so much local content. But then his belief and philosophy is that you can actually enhance quality of life using tourism. And I felt there's no other person that should have this conversation with us. Last week, they went beach hiking for 5 kilometers from Lighthouse to Tarkwa Bay. And it's coming up with something fantastic and breathtaking. In fact, I won't say too much. 2018, I think, if I'm correct, 2018. I finished the session called Face Your Fears with people, and unknown to the people in the class, I had a little fear, and he put together an event where we had to go to the beach to stay overnight, camp on the beach overnight. And trust me, as at 2 a.m., I saw something walking out of this. I said, "Oh my God, it's walking, you know."
You still haven't confirmed that story.
Where was playing tricks on me? I saw something. I said, "It's working." Everybody said they didn't say anything. But
oh my God!
Let's welcome I said KK. Let's welcome Koye.
Thank you very much.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you very much, everybody.
To the show.
Thank you.
That's the voice of our prophet. Once he welcomes you, everything is fine.
Everything is fine. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Rotimi did not do Koye good justice. So Koye is a deep guy. Very deep man. My conversations with Koye are like honestly out of this world. Welcome, Koye. I'm so happy to have you on today.
Thank you very much, Rhoda.
And he has the longest beards in the Republic. That black background is not background, it's his beard, so. Just so you know, it's background.
Nice to meet everybody. Thank you very much, Rotimi. I mean, the hype you've given this morning is really amazing. And when I think about how far and how well we have gone, I can't be more thankful than what you've done this morning. Nice to meet everybody. I'm really interested in what we're talking about, the quality of life. I mean, it's an amazing topic that, especially with the pandemic period, we should be talking about these things more often, helping people to improve on the way they live, which I think is very, very important. When I got in and I was hearing politics, in my mind I was like, okay, am I in the right? I need to add that, you know, am I in the right place?
Very diverse in our discussion.
I hate to do this, but let me give you heads up. I'm going to hand you over to the Sharks right now. And so be ready for questioning from our questioning Republicans. So
I'll try not to
hand you over to Titi and KK to do their best. What they love doing best.
I will send baby shark to you now if you're not careful.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you so much, Koye, for joining us. And I think it's a fantastic topic that we're talking about. And I think my first question is, you know, when we talk about quality of life, it embodies a lot of things. It embodies your physical health, family, education, employment, wealth, safety, security. Yeah. So when we look at the education profession, you know, specifically, it seems a lot of those points are missing. So I think that's how we start. So when you look at education, and I'm talking in terms of from educators, not the school owners, not those ones, but the educators. How would you advise them in terms of, you know, helping them achieve quality of life? And it's beyond having lots of money in your pocket for me. Sure. You know, I'm a personal believer. Wherever you are, you can create your own quality. It doesn't have to be, you know, what's with everybody. But we think, so what would you advise, especially considering the small budget? I think that's what I would do. So considering the small budget they're on, you know, typical summer holiday, people are traveling, people are this. But if you don't have that, you know, how can you still create quality of life call on the budget?
Okay. At least, so I think it's a good place to start from. When we look at quality of life for teachers, it's a very interesting aspect of when you talk about well-being. I mean, when you look at individuals and well-being. So first of all, you can consider factory workers and say, oh, these guys don't care about their health, they don't care about their lifestyle and things like that. But you see that happening a lot with people that you don't even expect it. Plumbers, tradesmiths. I'm digressing a bit now. But with teachers, you know, I would expect that, you know, teachers commit more to their well-being. And I like to look at quality of life as the entire well-being. Now, coming back to what you were talking about, there's this false impression that enjoying life has to be expensive, and I think it's a very false way to approach life. Now, there are things you can do. Let's look at it from the making our time to relax, recreation, and things like that. A walk, a hike, you know, simple things. There are things that people can do to actually improve on their psychological, their emotional well-being. That don't have to cost an arm and a leg. Unfortunately for us, you see what happens is that the recent, you know, life for the gram, living for life, like that, has created this impression that you want to go on a holiday, it has to be Dubai. You want to go to a lovely place, it has to be Cape Town. I mean, if you have the money, why not? I mean, if you're going to South Africa now, you'll be spending nothing less than 650, 700,000 naira to have a good time. I mean, with 700,000 naira, I would live somewhere very nice in Nigeria for 2 weeks and not have any problem. Now, that's on the high side. There are simple things people can do. I was doing a write-up recently, and I was querying myself, and I told myself that, look, it doesn't cost you anything to live life. The food you eat, of course, I mean, you have to buy food, but to live life to your fullest, it doesn't cost you as much as people think it will. So for teachers, I think teachers need to think of themselves as the product. If you're not in a good frame of mind, if you're not doing okay, how do you teach? How do you educate? If you're not exposed, if you don't go to places, if you don't explore, how do you teach? Are you just going to be teaching what's in the book, or do you want people to experience you as a teacher? So I think for educators, it's important that you look out for what I call cheap thrills. I mean, it's very, very simple, very, very easy. And I mean, as we go on, I think we'll be able to talk about some of these other things that people can do, where they can go, you know, how they can live. All these things add up to making you the best individual you can be. Yeah, so that's my own view.
Fantastic. I forgot to tell you guys that Koye can cook a storm. So if you're looking at wow. Trust me, I'm talking about experiences. I've known Koye's cooking skills for over 20 years. And you know, have you ever heard of sleeping beans before? It's a perfect anesthesia, or what they call that thing. If you want to sleep, you say you have insomnia. What's insomnia in Koye's Republic? You will sleep. Even if you have a loan to pay, you will sleep.
Well, thanks a lot.
I have a question of sorts. And it lends itself to mindsets, right? So Koye, I was in my head, I'm thinking, so I think two questions. Just take it like that. I'm more than to just take my questions like that.
I told you.
I'm running them over in my head. I'm like, okay, you know, I'm sure Koye can handle it. So like I said, it kind of lends itself to mindset. So I'm wondering, do you equate quality of life with happiness? If the answer is yes, then how do people begin to see, how should people see happiness, especially in a place like Nigeria, and particularly in the education sector, where a lot of people say that our reward is in heaven? So basically, you're not getting what is due you. but you're meant to put it the best that you can. So how should people manage such things? First of all, is it equated to happiness? Secondly, how do you even manage to express yourself and up your quality of life in terms looking at through the lens of happiness, where your job, where you spend most of your time, to be honest, and even when you're not at work, you're thinking about work, you're dreaming about work, you know. But how do people begin to, you know, so let me move it back to you.
Okay, so I mean, I've had a few opportunities to do. I mean, with training, I've done a couple of training, and one of the departments I handled one time was employee well-being. And when Rotimi told me about this, I was really happy about it. Now, if the question quality of life, equating it to happiness. Now, I mean, there are so many factors bring about happiness, and then there are a lot of variables you have to consider. But I think, in terms of quality and life, when you put it side by side with happiness, happiness is more of a journey. You know, you don't get to happiness by just doing 1, 2, 3 things. You have to also decide. And that's being deliberate. So, and that's one common factor between quality of life and happiness, being deliberate. You can have everything you need. You can have all the wealth and still not have a good quality of life. And it's also the same thing. You can have everything you want and not be happy. So the most important thing is, when you have a situation like what we have right now, with the pandemic and not being able to cope and things like that, I think to find your life, you have to be deliberate. You have to take out time to do things that would get you closer to happiness. You know, people are, when we started planning the beach hike, one thing that inspired us was the fact that there is the need for social distancing. But as human beings, as the human species, socializing is an essential part of who we are. So how can you then work towards happiness or good quality of life without socializing? So it's important. Of course, be safe. I won't definitely break any protocol. But in terms of working towards happiness or quality of life, you need to be deliberate, extremely deliberate. So that's the first question. The second one, talking about how do you then, I believe that's a question, fulfill the idea of, you know, being, making the best of one's.
Basically equating, how do you, because so a lot of teachers, for example, like I said, you know, our reward is in heaven. So financial gain is not as robust as, I mean, I think all of us would like, right? That's financial gain. I'm not talking about this, you know, some of the other things, And a lot of teachers, to be honest with you, I've found out that for a lot of people at a certain level, and I'm sorry, I'm having to generalize, sometimes money is a driver. So how do we move? How do you, when you're not getting that, and even at a time like this where it's even much worse, how do you begin to find your definitions of happiness?
I mean, I love this question. I mean, if money is a deciding factor for anybody's happiness, it's not the way to live. I don't want to use any adjective or any word that will sound very absurd, but it is, please, whoever is listening to this, money shouldn't determine how you feel, how good you. I mean, if you've got bills, you should have sleepless nights. Trust me. However, to achieve a good quality of life and be happy, especially as teachers, as you've mentioned, I mean, don't take your money, your result in heaven. Don't accept that as a way of life. I think it's very, very important that we, taking us back to the first answer, be deliberate. Now, if you have limited resources, for instance, what can you do? Ask yourself questions. How do you go about things? But be content, appreciate what you have. Oh, I'm not going spiritual now, but be grateful. I mean, people have got issues, problems, and then somehow, because we get so wrapped in our own world, thanks to social distancing as well, we get wrapped in our own world. So we think our problems are the biggest problems in the world. At times when you step out and you meet people, talk to people, experience people, engage people, you get to realize that what you think is a problem is actually, have you ever had a situation where you're thanking God for the problems you have?
I know.
It's very important that people understand that your happiness, your joy, your emotional stability or psychological stability should not be affected by external factors. You must first of all decide that this is how I want to feel. Then you ask questions that what do I need to do to get that kind of feeling? For some people, it's taking a stroll. For some people, is going out to do something. You don't have to wrap your well-being around wealth. It's a dangerous way to live, because what if you never achieve the wealth? What happens then?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So, thanks, Koye. I mean, you're just, of course, if I trace back our conversations, we will not finish here. But so let me start this way. I will come to my question, but please bear with me. In my alternate world, if people ask me, Rhoda, what would you have been if you were not a human being? I immediately say I would have. You people now.
I'm interested in hearing it.
Wow. Everybody's not going to do that.
I know the answer. I know the answer.
If people ask me, Rotimi, don't let me put you on the spot before you fail it now.
I know the answer.
All right, if people ask me what I would have been, like if I was on Earth and if I was not a human being, what would you have been? My answer is always I would have loved to be a plant. And that's because when I look at plants and just the fact that plants, just what they do, to life and how their existence actually beautifies life and makes them and gives, and it continues to give, and it stays steady and it acts, and I don't want to go into that being philosophical. But to your point around to your point around basically just not looking for too much to be happy towards your quality of life. I like when you talked about social distancing. I was at some point during this time, I said we should definitely do away with the word social distancing. We should definitely call it physical distancing, because we are social beings. It's just our adaptation.
Yes.
It's natural. It's our traits. We can't do anything about it, which is why it seems like human beings are rebellious to the fact that to the idea of social distancing. And that's why we are also rebellious to wearing the mask, because I am not about the mask life. I just can't breathe. And so it's kind of like what people and so I get it. It's human nature. But again, and I'm not coming to my question. And so you also alluded to the fact that experience is very key in being a better teacher or a better educator. Yes. I'll tell you a quick story. One time I was teaching a class, and this particular text, because we use the American curriculum at the time, this particular text, story or comprehension story was about national monuments and parks. And then at the time we're reading this story, I honestly did not understand parks as national monuments. And so when the kids were now telling me, like, Miss, no, it's not where we play, it's actually just monuments, like Stephen. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I'm the kind of educator who accepts my flaws and my mistakes right in front of the kids, because I want them to know that mistakes are a pathway to learning. Yeah. Exactly. And so one more thing you now know, and so I imagine that, just being an experiential, someone who has nice experiences, from just living life and just being a person, it adds value to your teaching, to your craft, as it were. And so what would you advise to teachers in terms of, I've heard you say, take a walk, and I'm all for that life. I've heard you say, go on a hike. I'm all for that life. And imagine that the more that you experience, you find your quality of life just, like the kind that you take simple things and want to know more, then it helps your craft. Please speak to to educators now who are listening to all of us. Like, what are the simple things you can do, that in equipping, creating a better quality of life for yourself, that also creates a better quality teaching and learning experiences in your class?
You all right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know if you got the question.
Okay, I got it. Perfect. I got it. I thought it was we had more words coming after that. I mean,
no.
This is something I find very exciting. I mean, Rotimi has been to my house. I live in a house that is over 80 years. It's and my family, my son is the 4th generation living in this house. So initially you know how things just add up. At some point we needed to restructure family related stuff and things like that. So the option came that, look, stay in a family house. I mean, people normally will be like, oh, staying in family house, it's not a good thing and all of that. But I'm saying this as a personal experience so that I can use this as a learning point. So in this house, old approach of living, it's a colonial building. 80 years, the building has never been dead. Is the way an old English house is built that this house was built. So we have trees growing, we have a garden where you have snails, you have centipedes. I think I've even seen scorpions at times. Now, what I'm trying to say is this. During the pandemic, during the long lockdown, and I'm trying to make people understand that you really don't need to have so many things to be explorative in your life. And when I mean explorative, learning itself is exploring. You know, my 2 lovely kids. And when we go through the compound, the house is a full plot, right? And we see things, they learn, they ask questions about the snails, about the centipedes. They ask questions about the building. They ask questions about the history of the building, what was going on at some point. My house is not too far from Casino, where a bomb blast occurred during the Biafra, one of the bomb blasts that happened in Lagos during the Biafra World War and Biafra Civil War in Nigeria. Now, when my kids ask me questions about this community, I feel really proud to explain these things because it's a learning experience for them. Now they will meet with their friends and they will talk about these things. They've learned something. They understand what arthropods are in terms of the centipedes. They understand the mollusk in terms of the snails. This is just my compound, as in my house. That people would have said, "Oh, what do I want to do in my house?" Some people have never been to their backyards. If you do a tour and ask, even if you ask in this place, when was the last time you went to the 4 corners of your compound? A lot of people haven't done that in a while. So if you can't do that, what exactly are you saving towards to experience? Because some people tell you, I'm still saving for that trip. But life is happening. You know, talking about the plants now. Life is happening as you exist. Just like a plant, life is happening. There's going to be morning, there will be night, and you know, a very known fact with our lifespan in Nigeria of less than 50, God forbid, I mean, anything can happen. So why would you limit yourself? As an educator, if you can't explore, you can't teach. I mean, I could as good pick up a textbook and be reading.
You can't explore, you can't teach. Oh my God. That is so powerful.
It's as simple as that. I remember having a math teacher that will come to class, and the first thing we would do is sing. Mrs. Olateros, I can't remember her name right now, but she had this impression on me. And then for me, the more you can make people visualize things, the better you are at teaching. And you cannot visualize what you don't see. I don't want to do PR for this channel, but there's this channel I've been getting my kids to watch that helps, I mean, to question certain things, explore. Even with the lockdown and not being able to go out, it talks about the planet, talks about the world, nature. I mean, it's the world is beautiful. And if you do not explore, I don't know how you define beauty, honestly, to be honest. So I think I'll stop it at that point.
We have a very short time, and I want to get as much as possible from you. But one fantastic thing that you must not miss on the show today is, can you spend some time, maybe in 60 seconds or less, can you tell us about the beach, like the experience, the adventure, what it takes to be a part of it? I know you had one last Saturday. I wasn't able to be a part of it, even though my seat was there and I missed the grub. One of the things I love, if Koye is going anywhere, even if it's his backyard, there's something to eat. So I'm not a foodie, but I just love that experimenting side of Koye. But then this beach, I want you to tell a lot of people out there, there are school owners, educators, consultants, people like Titi want to know what
I want to.
And the experience. I hear you're going to have 2 saxophonists. There's going to be fun music. There's going to be See, there are some things that I can't explain. Trust me, and this is not marketing.
I can't wait.
I can't see that overnight beach experience. We are doing it again, and this time around, we're calling it Face Your Fear. Trust me. White crabs for about an hour. Remember, we're catching crabs in the night.
Wow!
Swag left,
Wow!
Tell us, Koye, the beach hike.
All right. So, beach hike. I mean, when we started it, it came off as the whole idea is to make simple things, give that punch of adventure. It's an adventurous experience, actually. The last one we did was for a lot of people say, oh, I've never been on a banana boat, I've never been on a hike before. I know you had a lot of firsts. I've never been on a boat ride. So the idea behind it is to get people engaged. When we were going to, we teamed it Mind the Gap. That's the Footprints Mind the Gap experience, and the whole idea is, even with the social distancing, with it being locked up and things like that, you can still go out to have a bit of adventure, a bit of experience that would engage you to make you, get the best out of you as an individual. So it's set up as an adventure, get people walking, get people talking, and then the whole experience it's not 5 kilometers, it's 10 kilometers. So 5 kilometers.
Wow!
I was trying to catch Titi, and you still
Wow!
I wanted Titi to be short.
Trust me, it's
Wow!
do the 5 kilometers.
Koye, got me out though.
Trust me. It
will be fun.
It will be fine. When we started it, when I did the recce, because before I take people out, I usually try to capture the experience and try to visualize what it would be like. I had questions, and because when you're hiking on the beach, there are so many things you have to think about: tides, the weather, security, and things like that. But I was surprised. I had my fears when people started out, because at some point we had high tides when I was coming back. But when we were coming back, we had low tide. So we had this large expanse of wet soil, because when you're beach hiking, you have to walk on loose sand. So it has a toll on your leg. But it was amazing. The weather was perfect. We had done a bit of our own background check to make sure everything would go smoothly. So it was really exciting. People they were even asking that, okay, they wanted to go further. People that never done hiking before. So I think the people you have around you, and that's why we make it very, it's a small group of maximum 20 people, where we can engage people, interact very well. So you don't have a station where people are far off, there's no engagement going on. The whole idea, as I said earlier, let's engage ourselves, let's talk, let's be social, and then do as much as we can. In terms of the food aspect, I have a very lovely team, and this my team, is my family, to be honest. We have a way of making sure things work out well. We're very hospitable people, so we've kept this one small group, small refreshment, but big experience. So I look forward to the experience for 5th of September. The group is filling out. I was telling Rotimi that, look, whoever is going to be joining, we need to get them, on board as soon as we can, because it fills up very fast. People crave going out these days. And the beach is just around the corner. So someone told me I've never been to the beach. In my mind, I was like, and you live in Lagos. I say, yeah, I've never been to the
The person is in Lagos, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
And I'm like, how?
Yeah.
You know, there's an ocean around. You say, yeah, but I mean, work does not allow me. I say, yeah, okay.
Wow.
But this person, you know, you've been in Lagos for 3 years and you don't know where the beach is. I mean, it's not a criteria for being a good person, but I mean, when you want to go to the beach, you have water, your head will, you know, reset. At the point that we got to, I mean, the place we get to before we come back, you are the only one. Nobody is with you. You're there, you are calm, your head is, you know, the water is cooling your nerves, everything. I mean, I can't explain it, to be honest. You know, it's really, it has an effect on you, and this positive effect on you. You calm. So I'm always excited whenever I have to get to explore. So we're starting off with this. The future of this is to do go as far as Badagry. It's 60 kilometers from Lighthouse Beach to Badagry. So one of our projects is not going to be one day, a couple of days, you know. So
wow.
It is the one making those.
I'm all for that. I'm all for this.
So we are going together. We're breaking history. We're going to
as long as I can see.
Kids, right?
As long as you can
Koye, as long as I'm all for this, as long as I can see my twin brothers and sisters, the trees, I'm good.
Oh, look, I mean, I sent a picture to a group, and we were asking, is this Nigeria? You know, along our 5 kilometers, there's a place where you have a forest.
Koye, when you are doing 5 kilometers, let me know. But this 10 kilometers.
September.
Hold on. We have options for people that like Titi who are not yet believers. And by the time
unless you have people that will carry some people halfway, you know,
take my word
you
for
arrive
it.
at the destination, you'll be with the food. The sausage, you might not be anything. I say if beer came out and ate them all up. Oh my God! If beer in Lagos.
At some point, when we go back, I was asking, when I was doing a report, I was asking myself that, are you sure these people did 10 kilometers? Because they felt so, they didn't feel like anything happened. I was quite surprised. You know? I didn't tell anybody. I jog every other day. Well, I try to keep up with the routine because I do sports. I'm into judo. So that was my own cheat. I didn't tell anybody that I do that. So when I tell you 10 kilometers, I have an advantage, right? However, when I saw people doing 10 kilometers, in my mind, I was like, okay, maybe I didn't do these calculations very well. But it was actually 10 kilometers.
But the truth about it is that time flies when
you're having
fun.
Yes.
Time flies when you're doing what you're naturally good at. But then, most importantly, time flies when you're making history and significance. So,
I did the Access Marathon. I wanted to die. I was making
Access Marathon is not. That one is not this thing now. That one is too serious. You are just thinking of medal and the finishing line. This one, the elements are in favor. You're feeling the wind. You're seeing
That's right.
Go home to show that I did this thing. That's the only thing that made me and that I did this medal. I can't come. I said I came. I saw. I came back empty-handed. That was the only motivation.
Yeah. It's an experience. I mean, I personally, because I do sports, I know the impact of sports on the body. Marathon.
Wait. Sorry, because of time, we have like 3 minutes left. I want you to spend time in maybe 10 or 20 seconds. Tell them about, don't just say you do sports, you do something in sports. And I want Titi and KK to hear it quickly.
I do judo. I do judo. Sorry?
I'm a fellow active person.
Yeah, what? I didn't get that.
I said I'm a fellow active person. I'm very active.
Okay.
Yeah, go. Wait, tell her what you do, because they need to know the people I have at my back. Oh yeah, tell them.
Okay, so I do judo.
You do
martial arts. Yes. It's a martial art, a Japanese martial art that has been it's been evolved from jiu-jitsu, which is the common one people see in mixed martial arts. So it has a lot to do with throwing, grappling. It has a toll. It plays a toll on your body. I mean, you have to be physically fit to be able to do judo. And then aside that, it teaches a lot of principles in terms of self-discipline, being able to focus. And if not for judo during the pandemic, I wasn't practicing, but the fact that I had it in mind that we would go back to the dojo, because where we train is called a dojo, that we'll go back to the dojo and some small boys will now be hitting me on the floor. I just told myself, no, I have to go and, be fit, because you need to see these guys. These guys doing this WAEC now. I have about 3 or 4 of them in my dojo. 20, some of them 18, some of them 17. And you need to see how these guys throw me and, make me beg. At times my son will be looking at me and we'll be laughing at me and my mind and say, in my life. I love the experience. It helps me to focus. We don't fight on the streets. We don't beat people up, but we know what to do if we have to.
And we know we can call you if anybody tries us.
You know how to back your guy up if you have to.
Yeah, that's more like it. Yeah, definitely.
It is being humble right now.
We don't be too men.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna let his junior throw you on the floor, sharp.
I know. But you know that
open challenge.
Sorry, you know that quick one. You know that Koye is like an epitome of quality. How will I say it? It's a quality of life example. From starting from your spirit to your body to your spirit to your practice. And I think that's a great example for the rest of us. Who are listening, like as educators, like what this quality of life. We know that quality of life is not synonymous to wealth. But at the same time, we know that, it's also, with wealth or with some kind of wealth, you can attain some quality of life. But I think the great thing that has happened today, just listening to Koye, is just knowing that it doesn't have to be that. And that even us as educators and those of us within the system, even though we know that education does give you some level of quality of life, because this is an education in itself. I didn't even know that, we can just at the back here, just go and look at abilities type of education and that kind of thing. So thank you so much. I guess I'm just so appreciative of this, and it's just packed so much in my brain, of how I can experience.
Sorry, let's hear from Jude. And Jude is not saying, Jude is sitting like a dojo too.
Yeah. I'm just enjoying the ride. I'm enjoying the ride. Really appreciate Mr. Koyos. And what I'll be taking from his word is if you can't explore, you can't teach, something like that. And I've been talking about exploring. And me, I explore tech, right? So, and I'm so far in tech based on my exploration on the subject matter and the topic, and it still resonates with what he's saying. So if you are not exploring as a teacher, so what are you teaching? Thank you, Mr. Koyo. Thank you very much.
Honestly, I want to say something, and I'm looking back at my life and realizing that one of the reasons why I tend to love exploring is really because my mom was like that, and my mom knows how to explore on a budget. Yes. Honestly, she used to take us to the beach. We would cook everything. Do you understand? She would make her own ginger beer because she didn't want us to buy drinks. She would take us to Federal Palace Hotel. We make sure you must have eaten your air back home. So when they ask you, you want to when I was young, View was like a conversation conservative center. So it was at the beach, so there were crowds. We used to go there. We're always going out, but it was always on a budget. We used to be so angry at my mom because we see other families,
buying.
My mom is kind of person that they said, come to the cinema, you can't take your food in. Our snacks will be in our bags, this kind of. But the thing I got from it is that you can't do a lot of things on the budget. So we used to go to the beach. Sure, we used to be so angry going to the beach because we used to say to myself that she never really let us go into the water. And now that I'm a mother, I know why. Honestly, even me, if you see the hawk high I keep on my kids when we go to the beach. Those things. So that I'm always looking for experiences. And I look back and realize that because we went to so many places. Once there's a place to have fun, a place to explore, my mom would take us there on a budget. Yeah, you find a way where she had 7 children, so I think I understand now. Taking 7 children out, man, no, even me.
Oh my God.
So I want to encourage, the reason why I'm saying this, that I want to encourage educators out there. You can really, relax, on a budget. That's really what it is. Look for things. I can't believe someone can live in this Lagos and I've not been to the beach. I'm always looking for a new beach that I've not been to.
Some people have not entered Danfo.
In this Lagos. So I like the idea of the high, Mr. College, but that 10 kilometers, you just said that one, my mind just shut down, man. My mind just shut down.
No, Titi, you wouldn't even know. Titi, you wouldn't even know.
As we were talking, I was sending prayers to my sisters. I'm like, this is our next adventure.
Yes, so we're going. September 5th, it's here. We're going.
Titi, push your limit, break the limit.
We will enjoy it.
Is it a matter of fear? Is it a matter of fear, or you're concerned about your being able to finish?
You didn't hear me ask you whether they will be able to carry you at a point in case.
Trust me, you'll be amazed that you'll be able to achieve it.
They'll be able to carry me. Give me a chance. When we get to 5 or 7 kilometers, my tank is completely empty.
When you try it, you understand. The way we did it, when you do the 5 kilometers, right? When you do the first 5 kilometers, you have to do the second 5 kilometers. Trust me. It's set up that way.
Wait. You know what you can do? I have Titi's motivation, right?
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if I should say it to the entire world, but there is something you can do that when Titi sees that thing, she will walk 20 kilometers. Just make sure it's in huge quantity. She knows what I'm talking about. It's crispy, it's shining, it's flaky. Titi will represent Nigeria in hiking if you are not there.
As long as good food as we're hiking, I got no problem.
Rhoda, you will be smelling Kore's barbecue from the finishing line. I'm telling you, have you seen giant bully before?
Wow.
I think as we end the show, 2 things I want to say, and this is us taking our partition, that if during this COVID or during this time you haven't done things that have to do with physical health, which it can be as simple as taking a walk, it can be as simple as doing this hike, taking a walk, hanging out, don't just sit down in someone's house. I think doing something for your physical health and your mental well-being, as an educator, anybody out there, as a parent, I do feel a lot. I do time out though. So I think it's really important for our quality of life. Don't always think about the money. There's a friend of mine that I saw her. She used to wear her jewelries. I'm like, you just wear your jewelries for? She said, she just realized that she's been saving these jewelries for a party. Saving it. Party is not coming. So why is she saving those things? So she will not I took care of all those dresses and outfits and preserving for when you think it doesn't come on. You can come out sometimes see me all gagged up and you're asking me where I'm going. I'm not really going anywhere. But I'm like, this thing that we are saving for this special day, that the special day that they come, let's just, So don't save life for the future. Live life now. Sometimes I just go. I'm dieting. I just go to Goldstone. things that I like.
Nice.
Oh, God, I'm dying.
Hey, you're getting it now. Ice cream on the beach. Ice cream on the beach.
You know, you're broke, and this favorite biscuit that I like, I just got bought the money. I was gonna spend it.
So this topic actually just brings into focus what Rhoda talked about yesterday. When the well is dry, you will know the value of water. So you need to keep your well fresh. Then secondly, when you think about quality of life, I would say, again, what she mentioned, lose not yourself in a far off time. Around you right now, so much that is just waiting for you to explore, it's a dam waiting for you to just take from. So don't be looking far off and saying, when I do this, when I get here. No, right now, look around you, connect with you haven't connected with in a long time. Connect with your inner being, with yourself. Yeah, so those are the things that I have to say as we wrap up.
Thank you. Honestly, I like that I was saying, don't lose yourself in a far off time.
Dr. Jude.
Yeah.
Yes. I think I'm down with the enjoyment galore. So I'm in the enjoyment committee too.
My fear is that Jude might bring projector along.
We need some loud music.
Yeah. And I guess I would just say, I mean, KK is just like my twin sisters. KK, I hope you love trees. So, yeah, KK just rounded up just the way I would have used, with the same quote from yesterday. But I guess what I learned from today is go outside. Go outside more often, and then just look around and explore. You can't be a great teacher if you're not an explorative mind, if you don't have an explorative mind. So go outside. Thank you so much, Koye. I am coming on board. September.
Thank you. Look forward to it.
Okay. And I'm telling you, Ugochi is even sending me a message that she's also on board. She's now on board. So I'm wondering what Titi will be doing, not being there. I don't understand. And then in the spirit of going out more, I want to take Rhoda's advice and counsel. So I'm announcing officially that KK, I'm coming to eat Eba in your house. And so pull out those chicken ribs and all the stuff. Get them say, I'm coming to feast at your place. And then the next destination is TT. Then Rhoda, I'm coming for a curriculum buffet. Then
correct.
Too serious. Judy, just bring a projector for me to learn animation. Dude,
oh my God!
I don't have these conversations with Jude. Maybe I'll bring Jude over to my place. Of course, you know how we meet now.
Yes, now we know.
Yeah.
Yes,
So, for ladies and gentlemen, if you check your screen, you can see Koye's handle at Koye Joshua Fuluwe on Facebook. Follow him on Instagram. Follow him. The telephone for more inquiries is there. He's a great person, but beyond that, the message of today is quality of life. You can have it regardless of your class, regardless of your situation. And truth be told, the more quality of life, then there's a possibility of the longevity of life. So please ensure that you pursue quality as you get ready for resumption. Pursue quality as you pursue your business. And I'm sure that you get to have better things for it. This is all we're able to take today. Thanks to Titi, thanks to Jude, thanks to Rhoda, thanks to KK, thanks to Eben, Safety Chick, thanks to Koye for the short notice, and thanks to Internet for not messing us up. Yes. Internet is the best, guys. Internet is the best. It's not the thing. It's the best thing.
All right, bye. Thank you very much.